And looks like Poiman is going to try to close out the set with his Arakune. Does Poiman play Arakune? Poiman plays Sydney Serena, so I would not be surprised if a Sydney Serena main took a look at Arakune and was like, yeah, I'll play that character as well. But we are back with another Exceed commentary. It's your boy CPAT, and we're going to see some Arakune gameplay, which is going to be super interesting. We're actually going to see a Season 5 versus Season 5 matchup with two of our favorite, well, I guess Nu's a zoner. Is Arakune a zoner? Arakune is kind of a... Arakune is like zoner type tendencies. I don't really know if I would consider them a zoner, though. But I'm actually interested to see the Arakune. I'm not really super well versed with the character. Playing the character, that is. I don't think the character is super... The character seems very daunting to play at... To play as, sorry, not at. Play as. But I do think the character does have a pretty simple game plan overall, right? It's just try to get to 8 gauge and then overdrive at the proper time and then try to kill him before you flip back. Either that or kill them as you maybe like one combat away from killing them when you flip back. And as we're actually going to see the turn 1 5-bit of knowledge, look at the 5 cards of your deck and place one everywhere. So one card in the gauge, one card in the sealed area, one card in the on top of the deck, one card in your hand, and one card in your OD. Interesting boost. I feel like I was actually having, not me personally, but someone else was having a discussion with Calavantis on this boost. And apparently he thought that this was a bad turn 1, turn 2 play. Maybe I don't want to be saying that. Maybe I don't want to be twisting his words. But of course, Calavantis won Jungies Shapes, the OG Jungies Shapes, with Arakune on his roster. I do trust him on a lot of his opinions because I think he's been provably the best Exceed player over the past year plus, or at least since I've joined the community. But yeah, I think he was saying how this is not like a good early game boost. I don't remember the specifics on why. I don't really remember the conversation either. But, I mean, just a little nugget of wisdom I heard. Cal, if you're watching this, feel free to drop some knowledge in the comments, or if anyone else has some opinions on Forbidden Knowledge as a turn 1, turn 2 early boost. That's what I heard. Maybe Feathers can explain it. If Feathers, you're watching this, feel free to drop some knowledge on why Forbidden Knowledge isn't the best early game play. But it looks like while I was... So I was actually looking up while I was making those comments on Forbidden Knowledge, so I actually didn't really see what card was sealed. Looks like we have a 7 in the overdrive. Now, notably, one little micromanaging thing that Arakune wants to do is that Arakune really wants to make sure he gets the correct speeds in his overdrive. So, important speeds for Arakune. I think 3 is super important for permutation, spike, shenanigans. A lot of his stuff is like mid-speedy, right? So Y2 dash is speed 4. Disjoint Union speed 5 allows you to get like a speed 6 assault. Speed 7 is actually interesting because, as we're going to see, Jad initiate with the plus 3 to force range. We responded with the if P then Q, so this is the OG speed dodge. This is the OG reverse DP. Attacks with higher speed do not hit you. Before you may advance 3. After you may add this card to your overdrive. It's interesting that Arakune chose not to hit Nu with the if P then Q. Why was that choice made, I wonder? So of course Arakune, his UA is that his specials have and ultras have hit. You can add the top card you discard to your overdrive. Maybe you didn't want to add the 2 to overdrive? Question mark. But that's if P then Q could have hit, but instead Poiman chose to not make it hit. So when it hits, it goes to gauge. I don't know. I just feels like you should have hit with the if P then Q, right? I don't know. As we see, of course, we're gonna see EX. What is what? This is no good. This is no good. Your permutation is just so good when you're exceeded. Remove makes that 0 to 7, 7 4 1 5. Just gets blocked instead. No, this is no good. That's too aggressive. I wasn't even paying attention to what options were in Poiman's head at the time when he placed that EX attack, but no, I do not agree with this at all. At the very least, the sweep will go to the overdrive since the permutation hit. Permutation is just one of those cards that's so good when you're flipped. So, I mean, spending both of them like that, like, I think you can justify spending one, but spending both of them like that, being left at the mercy of your wild swings as well, is just very, very, very aggressive play. And we have looked at Poiman before, and we have seen him that he really likes making these wacky, aggressive plays that FP-wise will not hit, because it only hits at even ranges, so Jad just has to push Arakune to range 3, and then that FP-wise will miss. Notably, the FP-wise would miss if... what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, the FP-wise would not miss on the overdrive side because Arakune gets -8 minimum range. So we see the prepare action coming from Poiman. Jad will do the same. I'm assuming Poiman just has to prepare again. I mean, look at this, and F of G block. What are you going to do with that? Oh yeah, the 3s are also important in the overdrive for F of G as well. So F of G is a tool that I don't see... I guess I don't really see a lot of Arakunes in general. But F of G, when you play it while overdrive, while overdriven, is that the term? While in overdrive. If you play it while in overdrive, basically allows you to extend your overdrive, right? And on top of that, not only does it allow you to extend it, but it allows you to extend it by choosing what cards you want to extend it with. It's just super good during the overdrive. So that's why 3s are important in the overdrive as well, just for that F of G. Although we did see Arakune pop a 7 in the overdrive, but then spend the second copy of F inverse. Are we really going to see Arakune respond with EX Spike here? No, this feels like cross from Nu. It is cross, and we're going to see Arakune throw more resources down the drain. That EX Spike is not going to hit, obviously. Arakune down 2 cards for that. Did only take 2 damage, but... I mean, does have, at the very least, does have a good amount of cards in the overdrive. I believe it has 4 cards in overdrive and 1 card engaged, so it's over halfway to the quote-unquote win con. Oh, that's not really a win con here. Nu, of course, building her 3rd gauge will exceed here. Notably, Arakune has drawn the second if P then Q, so fast attacks are not just free. Although, once that second if P then Q is spent, then fast attacks will be free. Y2 dash serves as a dive-like in a scenario with range 4. We saw Poiman doing some really interesting strikes into Nu when she's exceeded. Normally it's a no-no. So we're going to see the -1 speed, attacks at range X do not hit you, where X is the number of cards in your overdrive. And guess what? Poiman has 4 cards in his overdrive. So attacks at range X cannot hit him. So Nu will have to resort to something like an assault to hit something with movement, basically. Something with pre-strike movement. Normally Nu's stuck in the corner, so it can't be retreat movement. It has to be advanced movement. It's actually pretty good use of that boost there. I believe that's a boost we don't see very often. We did see it in Junkies Japes Winners Finals, the first ever commentary I did. Baby's first commentary. You can check that out on the channel. We saw Calvantis use this against Mix in the Winners Finals of that set. We're going to see Nu initiate a strike here. I mean, this is just assault, right? So Y2 dash is not going to work. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I don't get this. I'm not really understanding these Arakune plays. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll be very upfront. I'm not really understanding these Arakune lines. We're actually going to see Nu not advance 3. Not that it matters, but because I mean Nu would end up at range 2 anyway. Nu obviously gets advantage off the assault. We'll get to strike again. If she so chooses. Notably Nu, when you're overdriving, you basically want to be striking every turn, which is why I feel like I got through 80% of this thought like 3 separate times, but I never actually finished it. Don't strike into Overdrive Nu, unless you want to have, like, unless you're confident you could beat the +0 to 4 range, right? And not get dodged with the hit advance 3. So there are some situations, like if Nu's at range 2, where that is okay, as we're going to see Nu initiate the cross into the Wild Swing Y2 dash. Arakune would take 3 more damage. Nu builds up her second gauge for the ensuing overdrive. Back to Arakune here. So yeah, Nu, obviously a character that wants to basically be chaining these overdrives. Overdrive will go off for Nu. She'll flip back. Finds herself at range 1, down both crosses. Down both grasps, maybe? Down a grasp, at least. Maybe not. But Poiman's got a very... So he crossed into range 1, but look at his hand for range 1. It's not a beauty. So we're going to see Arakune Wild Swing again. Dive will trade with the sweep. Unfortunately, Arakune doesn't really have a ton of life left to work with. The overdrive, I mean, Nu chips damage at you for the most part, right? Most of her damage is just like 3 damage here, 4 damage here. It's not a lot, but I mean, Arakune has gotten hit several times, stuck with a god-awful hand. We'll probably have to change cards 4 to draw 5, and yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Hopefully there's good stuff left in the deck for Poiman. I haven't really been paying attention, and this is not the best looking hand either. This hand actually looks really bad. Maybe we should have taken a look at what cards were left if you were Poiman, because this is not a good looking range 1 hand. You do have the EX Disjoint Union to help out with the range 1. To help out with the, not range 1, the range like 4-ish gameplay from Nu. We're going to see a strike here. It's Assault into Focus. That's not great. The Disjoint Union was actually boosted, so that will get added to the overdrive as well. Nu will obviously advance out of the corner with her hit advance 3. We're going to see Poiman go for the same kind of shenanigans again, but the thing is, like, this should be a highly telegraphed dive. I believe both assaults are down for Arakune. I believe. So if Nu can suss us out and poke it out with a fast attack, then this game's over, right? So this is actually a really, really risky combat here from Arakune, striking at range 3 with a dive. With a dive with 0 defenses, obviously. This is very sketchy. And let's see if it works out. It does work out. Jad plays Sickle Storm at range 3 is exceeded Nu, maybe just out of the fast options. I mean, we did see both crosses go down. We saw an assault go down as well. As the OD goes off again, Nu steps back to range 2. Range 2, not the best when you're overdriven Nu. Basically, you just have grass to threaten. Oh no! Nu plays the range 2 spike, popping the focus. I mean, Arakune has a very low card count. I mean, there was even a chance that 3 cards left in the deck for Arakune. Maybe that spike was actually just checkmate. If so well calculated by Jad. And there's actually a good chance that spike was just checkmate. Arakune just having a really just tough time with the deck order. Not like standing at the right ranges to draw the cards that to like supplement the cards that he had left in his deck. Just overuse of resources, especially in the early game, was never able to catch up. Arakune, it's not really legal for Arakune to do those kind of things and get away with it all too often, even against a character like Nu. Notably, these players are discussing that because Arakune has a face-down sealed area alongside his other card, and yeah, we are looking at that spike was a checkmate. Block, Grasp, Sweep left for the last 3 cards for Arakune. But yeah, this kind of like aggressive gameplay, you can't really do it as Arakune. I mean, Arakune probably finally gets to succeed at the very least, but I mean, 4 cards left for Nu. Nu's gonna be taking a step back to range 3. Will Arakune even get to survive this? Who knows? Why do 4s go face? Why are the 4s like that? They're upside down? I don't know. Anyway, Arakune gets the flip. We'll take a look at this overdrive ability. Arakune will draw 2 cards and strike. So we'll draw the sweep. We'll draw a second card here as well. So, I mean, basically, Arakune is playing the top deck here, right? Now, notably, this face-down sealed card is known. Before it was not, but now it is known. Actually, no, it's not known because of the same deal. I mean, the last 4 cards are known. So, like, the contents of that are known. Jad not even gonna take a look, I guess. Okay. Weird. Arakune, block, grasp, sweep, focus. Not the best looking hand. Might even just have to wild swing this. Yeah, I has to wild swing with only 3 HP. Grasp is not going to do anything at range 2, obviously. Sweep and focus are too slow with only 3 HP. You just have to wild swing and hope for the best. And yeah, I mean, just really poor resource management. Although, we're not cheering for that as Arakune. We are getting pushed back to range 5 as against a Nu who is overdriven. This is looking so terrible. I mean, at the very least, Arakune has a block, and you just gotta pray that Nu doesn't have a second spike in her hand. But that wild swing just goes poorly as well. Nothing really going right for Poiman this game, really. Spike on top. Poiman will choose to probably keep that on top. Just because he has a block left, I guess, and you just have to pray that Nu doesn't have second spike. Looks like Jad took 1 damage and spent a sweep. Seems fine to me. Second overdrive will go off. Nu will back up to range 6. And, of course, we'll be striking again almost assuredly. Even has 3H, like, even can strike with a Calamity Sword, funnily enough. Although, if we see another Wild Swing reverse DP in the form of if P then Q, that would be really funny. Nope, we're going to see Jad strike from hand. It is going to be, it is in fact the Calamity Sword. Did not actually expect that. I kind of called that out as a joke option, but sure. I mean, unfortunately this means Nu spends the gauge, so no chaining overdrives for Nu here, which is kind of weird. Arakune spends 2 cards from hand. Arakune has to first discard a card from overdrive. We'll discard the 5. We'll discard the 5er. Look at the spike again. Discards 2 cards from hand. Takes no damage. We'll have to spend all of his gauge to move somewhere. On his next turn. Because you can't stand at range 6, obviously. As Arakune in this situation. So you have to move up. Overdrive ability will go off again, and now I feel like the spike should have been sealed, but I mean, maybe that's the win con that Poiman is thinking of. It's not even really a win con. We see Poiman opt for prepare, draws the spike for some reason, didn't seal it? Question mark. Now I'm confused, because now it feels like you've drawn 1. Now you're like setting yourself up for failure because you have 1 less out to draw through, and it's not like you had a ton of outs anyway. Looks like Nu will just prepare. Back to Arakune, and again, while all this is happening, Arakune's overdrive is ticking down with no value. Right. Arakune has done 0 damage with this overdrive. Outside, well, she has done 1 damage with the Wild Swing Cross, which was, again, unfortunate, but we are going to see Arakune initiate a strike. I don't know what this is. I mean, this is telegraphing either an FFG or it's telegraphing a, whatchamacallit, permutation. Both of those would be at speed 4 with the Arakune UA. Although, we are going to be, oh no, wait. The Super Rage will not be able to, or Super Rage will get dodged by the if P then Q at the very least. With the before advance 3. But I was about to say, if Nu was overdriven there, again, then that would have been... That would have... What? Oh, never mind. Super Rage still hits because it has a before you may retreat one. I apologize. My commentary has been rusty, but we did catch it at the end. Super Rage will catch out the if P then Q. Poiman just betting that Nu would play like Grasp or Cross, but Nu didn't shuffle, so like the options were known. Maybe there's a Grasp left or something, who knows. But yeah, we're gonna see more of this Arakune coming at you next as Poiman loses game 3, doesn't take the sweep 3-0 like all these other tournament matches, but game 4 will be coming your way next.